All right, we're going to have a presentation from Livepeer. Had to be tuned in virtually, but it's going to be some really cool information and maybe some information about the future. So let's let Suhail come in and introduce himself.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
All right. So, everyone, hope you have a wonderful time at this event. And yeah, my name is Sahil, and I work at developer relations here at Livepeer. And yeah, today I'm very much excited to share or have a workshop on building with Livepeer. So I would like to start with first. As you might probably know, 80% of the internet is comprised of video content, and this figure showcases the online prominence of the video and the online interaction. And furthermore, 65% of the whole internet traffic come from the video websites such as YouTube, Twitch, or even Twitter, and etc. And so the question would be, what makes the video so appealing and influential that 80% of the internet is video and 65% of the whole traffic come from a website? One of the key factors is engagement. Videos have a very unique ability to captivate the audience in a way that text or images often struggle to achieve. And for example, with dynamic visual, audio, and storytelling elements, video creates an immersive experience to resonate deeply with the viewer. And beyond engagement, the versatility of video content is another significant advantage of it. Video can be served on multitude of the purposes, for example, for entertainment, for education, marketing, and behind that. So whether you like to entertain or inform or pursue or inspire something, video offers a powerful medium to convey your message really effectively. And moreover, video have a remarkable ability to establish a personal connection between the viewers and the creator or the brand. For example, by leveraging the visual and auditory videos can evoke the emotion, build trust, and foster the sense of authenticity. And considering these factors, it is clear that video is not a trend, but more like a vital component for our online experience. However, the crucial part to acknowledge is that it can be very, very expensive to create and optimize for a seamless playback across various devices and platforms. One of the primary costs in video content is the need for transcoding. Transcoding is basically a process of converting raw video files into different formats and sizes to ensure a smooth playback and provide a seamless viewing experience. Depends whether the user has a good internet speed or not. And it's also, we have to make a note of it, that transcoding can be resource intensive and also time consuming, adding the overall cost to the video production. And this complexity of the video process coupled with the need of specialist softwares and hardwares contribute to the expenses involved in creating videos that are compatible with various devices and platforms. So this is where Livepeer come into the play. Livepeer is a global, open, and decentralized video infrastructure network. With a distributed networks of nodes, Livepeer ensures high availability and reduces latency, providing a global video infrastructure for audiences. And basically, Livepeer, as I mentioned it's a decentralized and it ensures the reliability. It is completely blockchain agnostic, so it really doesn't matter which blockchain you will use, or even if you would like to use any blockchain. So Livepeer has a SDK or REST API which you can use it without interacting with Livepeer smart contracts. And some of the applications which are powered by Livepeer are Huddle 01, Beam, Bonfire, LensTube, Orb, and many other decentralized applications which uses Livepeer for as a video infrastructure in both their websites or mobile applications. The Livepeer Gateway Service and SDK provide the video on demand, live streaming, delivery, recording, transcoding, multi-streaming for over 2 million plus minutes each week. And you can learn more about the stats, the transcoding, nodes, orchestrators, and all from explorer.livepeer.org, which is using the subgraph, the Livepeer subgraph, to fetch all the information. So now coming to the next topic, which is who is Livepeer for? Livepeer is basically for the developers who want to build an application that include a live or on-demand video or multi-streaming. They can use Livepeer to power their video functionality, or it can be used by the broadcasters such as Twitch or YouTube streamers who have a very large audience from the different countries and very high streaming bills and infrastructure who cost basically which can be reduced at their cost by using Livepeer and the infrastructure overhead. And besides that, Livepeer is also for the users who want to stream video gaming, coding, entertainment, or educational processes on the type of the dApps or application which basically they built with Livepeer. Livepeer has many functionalities such as video on demand, live streaming, multi-participant streaming, video token gating, NFTs, and etc. But in this workshop, we will be covering mainly three, which is the VOD, video on demand, live streaming, and playback from the IPFS. So starting with Web3 video publishing or the video on demand, it takes this process in order for the from the starting to the end point when the video is being uploaded to the Livepeer. So it starts with the pre-process of getting a standard video format, control the video size, and also encrypt the video file. Next, if the user wants, they can also upload it to IPFS or Weave storage or any other storages which they are comfortable of. And the next, Livepeer process this video and generate the transcoded version of it. Once the video is transcoded, users can basically mint an NFT or specify any access control which they want, or just post it on their social media accounts like in the Lens protocol. And finally, there's also Livepeer Player, which handles the video caching, playback from the D storage, and also content verification. And finally, there's a data analytics, which you can get the viewerships of your video, the playback performance, and etc. The next is the video broadcasting or live streaming. This has a very similar, but a few steps is basically different. The first one in the live streaming is video ingest, which basically gives the video supported format like RTMP, SRT, WebRTC, and etc. Then Livepeer pre-process the video for video transcoding, recording, or multi-streaming. And again, in this case also the users want to create a social port or access control their videos. And finally, they can play back the video using the Livepeer player, and then they can also get the video information such as the viewership and playback performance. Livepeer also has a JavaScript SDK, especially for the React or Next.js application. It makes building with Livepeer very effortless. It provides a core vanilla JavaScript library to easily connect with the Livepeer provider, for example, Livepeer Studio, and as well as the React-specific hooks to build the memorization and DOM management. It is quite easy to interact with, and yeah, so if you're building any application which uses React, Livepeer JavaScript SDK is the best option. However, if you are building an application which is using a server-side or any other application, any other language which Livepeer SDK does not support, you can use the Livepeer REST API. Livepeer API is an organized REST API which has a predictable resource-oriented URLs. It accepts the form encoded request bodies. It returns the JSON encoded responses, and it uses the standard HTTP responses for authentication and works. And you can access the Livepeer API reference from docs.livepeer.org/API. And yeah, this was some slides about Livepeer, how it works, and now I'd like to take some time to show you a demo of how to build an application with Livepeer. So I assume that if you're a developer, you would basically use a Next.js application. So I will quickly create a Next.js application, and we will basically, let's create it. We don't want TypeScript in this case. We want ESLint, we want Tailwind CSS, and I think for now we don't want to use the app router, but yeah, if you have a production ready application, a router option for Next.js would be the best option to go with. And now that the video is basically, the Next.js application is building, you can head over to the livepeer.studio, which is livepeer.studio, and you will be redirected to this authentication page where you can either create a new account or sign in a state. Currently, the only broadcasting provider is Livepeer Inc., but in the future, you'll also have an option to provide your own provider or use the other providers. So I already have an account, so I'll just go ahead and quickly log in. And yeah, once you are here, this would be the dashboard for Livepeer Studio. Livepeer Studio is basically an open source dashboard for interacting with the Livepeer API. And yeah, so as you can see now, the Next.js application is completed. We can open it up, graph workshop. And here we can run npm run dev to start the application. All right, so now that the application is run, we can go back to our browser and go to localhost port 3000. Remove this URL from here, and yeah, so as you can see, I have a very, let me go to 301. Yep. So in the port 3001, we have a simple Next.js application, which is basically generated from the Create Next app. And yeah, so in this workshop, I'll be just covering a very small topic of playing back a video from either IPFS or read. So yeah, now that we have created the Next.js application, we can quickly update the Tailwind config first. So I already have the phone files, so I just added here the primary and secondary, and yep. So, but this repo is available on the GitHub, so if you want to clone it, you can directly do it. That would be much easy. And finally, I can have an image here on the public. And yeah, that's it. Now we can come back to the pages index.js. So this is the main file for you to yeah, build an application. This is the index file for the Next.js applications. So I'll remove this one, and for now I can just write here. And as you can see, we have it here. Next, let's come back to the styles, global.js. So here we want to clean up everything, and also add two other style files, which is from our fonts, which is the Satoshi and Cabin font. So I just quickly add them here as well. And yeah, once we have the style files, we can come to the app.js, and here we can import both of those style files. And yeah, that's it for the setup. Now if I open up here, we just have a very simple application. And now what I would like to do is just update it and make the app a little bit nicer for it to look. So let me just zoom it in. So here I can create a div with the class name of relative, flexbox, and we can give it a minimum height of the screen, and flex column. We want the items to be in the center of the screen. And you can also keep the justify content center, and if there's any overflow, you can hide in it. And finally, if you want, you can also add a background. In my case, I just want to add a very light shade of the gray. And finally, some padding. And next, I already have image files here, which yeah, you can get them from the GitHub repo. So I just add a very simple background, and then another simple grid background. So now here we have our main code, which we can add of mainly the text files or any components. So here I can, for example, write playback a video from IPFS or RV. And we can also give some style to this text. And finally, wrap it inside of a div. And if I save it, you can see we have a playback from video. We have a very nice background with a gray color and some grids. But yeah, this is how it looks right now. So now we want to basically make sure that this is on the center of the screen. Write this class name. And yeah, so next what we want to do is add an input here, which users can users can add an IPFS or RWeave CID, and then we can play it with the Livepeer player. So I'll create a div here, and inside of it, I can add an input of, for example, IPFS CID or RWeave hash. So you can see we have the player here. It's not visible properly, but we have it here. Now we can update it a little. This. And yeah, give it a background of 200. Right. So now we have a very small input with text. Now we want to make sure the styles. I don't want to make this too complicated for styling and etc. So yeah, just want to make sure it is as simple as possible. And yeah, so here we have a text and some video. Let's make sure that the text is aligned properly. So I can give a margin top of 20 and a margin left of 20 as well. Maybe 50 will, let's try with 40. Yeah, I think for now it's good. But again, yeah, you can just add an align center and it should work properly as well. And yeah, I think for now we are good. We have a text and we have an input. So maybe let me give it, yeah. So here you can see we have a text. Let me just make this white so it's clearly visible. Yeah, so we have an input with a text. Now this is the input which users can basically type any IPFS CID or RWeave transaction hash. And here we want to put the Livepeer to play back the video from the D storage. So now that we have our simple Next.js application running, we can go back to the Livepeer docs. And here, the first thing which we need to do in order to use the Livepeer.js is to install the package, which you can do by npm yarn or pnpm. So I can quickly run npm install at livepeer/react. And once you have it installed in your app.js or index.js, you have to import and create a Livepeer client. So let me just quickly do that. We can create a client and finally wrap our application with Livepeer config. And yeah, so here we have added a Livepeer config imported from a Livepeer/react package, and we also have specified a client. So here we can just use this client from here and get sedu key. So coming back to the Livepeer.sedu, you can go to the developer section. Here you can find API keys. You can click on create an API key, give it a name. For example, in my case, I'm just going to give it graph workshop. And you can also allow course access. In this case, I want for everywhere, but if you're building an application, you can just put your domain name and yeah, copy the API key. Save it. And yeah, we now have the Livepeer client ready. So the next option would be to use the Livepeer player to play back the video from IPFS. So let's come back to the home page. And here, what we can do is we can import the player component from React. So I can say import player from React. And we can also import, yeah, I think for now we are good. And finally, we can just add a player here. Yeah, here would be a good place to add a player. So we can just say player. And we can give a margin top of 10. Yep, it should look good now. Let's also add a relative here. Finally, we can add an overflow. Yeah, perfect. So now we have a Livepeer player here. So for now, it doesn't have any, we did not pass any CID or Orbit, so that's why it's just in the loading stage. But first, let's make sure it's aligned on the screen. So yeah, perfect. So here, what you want to do is once the user type IPFS CID, we want to play the video here. So for that, we can first create a user state. For example, the storage ID, which stands for decentralized storage ID. And we can have a user state of a string. And next, what we can do is on change, we can set the value to set the storage ID. And finally, in the player, we can basically put src for that URL. And in our case, it's going to be URL, so users will be putting IPFS link. We can player also accept the autoplay or muted and etc. So let's replace this with a storage ID. And yeah, let's also bring one final change. So we want to make sure the player is visible only if there's a storage ID. So we can do it like this. Yeah, good. So now we have this web page. We have a text and input, and here we want once we put the IPFS CID, we should have the Livepeer player playing back the video from the storage. So completely optimal. So the Livepeer will play back the IPFS CID from the transcoded version, basically from the Livepeer CDN. So it will provide a bit viewer experience. So now here we can just get the IPFS CID. So I have this IPFS CID here, and if I put it in this input, you can see the Livepeer player is playing back the video instantly. While if we open the IPFS CID, for example, on a web page, it could take maybe 1 second or 2 seconds, or maybe for a 4K video, it could take up to 2 seconds. But yeah, with Livepeer CDN, it should let's play back the video at the same time. And yes, that's it for this workshop. If I went any fast or anything else, please let me know. Like if you didn't understand anything. But yeah, that's it. If you have any questions or anything, please let me know. And yeah, it was great. I'm looking forward to see more from more innovations on the graph and the decentralized infrastructure. If you have any questions or etc., please let me know.
He can't hear us, right? Anybody have any questions that we can send over in Telegram and he can answer? And it's, by the way, if you didn't see, it's 3:30 a.m. his time. What a trooper to be doing that. Yeah. Tell him everyone's clapping for him.
Yeah, I was very much excited for this event. So yeah, it's already 3:40 a.m. here, but yeah, no problem at all. I'm very much glad to be here.
Awesome. I guess you can hear us. One thing that is cool is that this camera right here, we're actually using Livepeer, and we'll be using Livepeer pretty much every Edge and Node event. So kind of the House of Web3 is running on Web3 Tech, which is why we're also using Unlock Protocol for registrations, and hopefully we'll be implementing more stuff around there. And that's cool because, like you were saying, it streams directly to YouTube. It can use different things. So it's really versatile and not too hard to set up. Suhail, thanks so much for staying up late. Look forward to seeing you in person one day soon, man.
Yeah, no problem at all. And yeah, thank you very much for having me.
All right, thanks, bud. We'll take a second. We're going to set up the presentation for Rubicon. I'm going to round out some folks that wanted to see it, and then we'll start in a couple minutes.